In this short video, I'm going to walk you through one portion of the Carb Regulation Protocol where we show ladies that we coach how they're able to eat their favourite everyday foods, still lose 20, 40, 60 pounds plus, lower their A1C and achieve clinical remission. And yes, that includes bread, pasta, rice, sweets and even takeout. So, let's get into it. One thing that we always have to remember is it doesn't matter what diet you follow. If you're not in a calorie deficit, you will not elicit fat loss. So why would you follow a restrictive diet? Something which is impossible to stick to. Otherwise, you would have already done it, right? When you can achieve the same outcome, a calorie deficit and therefore fat loss whilst eating the food you love every day. The ladies that we coach, they eat whatever the heck they want and they still lose weight and lower their A1C. Just like Casey. Casey has lost over 30 pounds so far and lowered her A1C down to 6.0, which is partial remission. Here are some snippets of what she's eaten from her own food diary that she's shared with me. We've got Wendy's here. We've got some Dunkin' Donuts. We've got some Taco Bell. Now, I'm not saying you have to or should eat these foods. What I want you to do is imagine your favourite foods. Michelle lowered her A1C down to 4.8 as well as achieved her goal weight of 140 pounds. So she achieved clinical remission, got off all meds and achieved her goal weight of 140 pounds. Again, Taco Bell, some Papa John's, some Arby's, a McDonald's chocolate shake and even Burger King. Now, these ladies are all exactly the same as you. They've struggled with weight loss for years, decades and many their whole lives. There have been lifelong cycles of self-sabotage. There's been emotional eating. There's been mountains of stress. There's been a lifetime of negative self-talk. Yet, even so, they've still achieved these life-changing outcomes. And you can too, because again, you're absolutely no different. I know with supreme confidence that you can lose 20 to 60 pounds plus, lower your A1C and achieve clinical remission. You just need the right system, the right approach and the right support. Now, before we go into the Trifecta Rule and how you can apply it to your own life, first of all, food freedom. This is what we help ladies achieve. This means two things. You're able to eat the food you love. Once you learn how to implement the CRP, which is the Carb Regulation Protocol, once you learn how to manage your favourite everyday foods, no foods are off limits ever again. And what I'm walking you through here is one component of the Carb Regulation Protocol, right? The Trifecta Rule is just a part, one little part of that system, right? Now, not only are you able to eat the food you love, you're able to eat the food you love without guilt or shame, because how many of you experience these negative emotions after consuming certain food, whether it be bread, pasta, whatever the food may be? Now, here's a really subtle perspective shift that I want you to focus on. There are no good or bad foods. That doesn't exist anymore. That does not exist anymore. What does exist are more nutritious and less nutritious foods. As soon as you assign morality to food, you also assign emotion, good and bad, to that food. So, if you continue to assign morality to food, you will continue to reinforce a negative relationship with food and will always experience guilt and shame whenever you consume certain food. Now, remember, the Trifecta Rule shows us that it's not what you eat in isolation, on its own. Nothing matters on its own. Like a pizza. Now, zoom out across the entire month. One pizza is insignificant. It doesn't matter. It's a speck of dust. It's irrelevant. As long as we apply the Trifecta Rule, which is one aspect of the entirety of the Carb Regulation Protocol, which really shows ladies how to manage bread, pasta, rice, sweets, and still lose weight and lower their A1C. But the purpose of this video is the Trifecta Rule, which shows us that it doesn't matter what you eat, it's portion, how much of it you eat, its frequency, how often you eat it, and its balance, what else you eat. Now, portion. Let's use pizza as an example, right? A few slices of pizza, perfectly fine, right? 8, 9 slices of pizza? Probably not, right? Portion. Frequency. Having pizza today, and then pizza 2 days later, and then pizza 2 days later, and then pizza 2 days later. This is just an example, by the way. That's probably not going to work. So frequency, how often you eat it. And then finally, balance. You probably can't have a McDonald's for breakfast, pizza for lunch, and then pasta and garlic bread for dinner. You can have all of those things. You can have all of them, but not in the same day. Not quite that close together. Calories are going to be really high, carbs are going to be really high, and that's going to cause an issue. Right, that's going to cause an issue. But you can have all of these things as long as we apply the trifecta rule, which is portion, how much of it you eat, frequency, how often you eat it, and balance, what else you eat. Right? Now below, I'll put a link to this full workshop where I went through the whole carb regulation protocol in its entirety. I'll put that down below so you can watch it if you want. We had over 80 people come live to this event when I delivered it. It was a hit. It was truly life-changing for many people. I'll put the link to it down below in the description. If you've got any questions, all you've got to do is shoot me a message, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.